Okay, good morning and welcome to Just Daf Yomi shiur. We're learning with Kesubos, Daf Hey number 5. We have a phenomenal shiur for you today. I'm dressed in a new tie. I like to wear different ties. I have like 15, 20 ties in my closet that I've accumulated over the years. This tie actually was not worn at my wedding, but the same tie was worn by everybody else in my family. My brother-in-laws, my brother, my father, my uncle. They're all, my family wore this tie. I bought 15 of these ties for the wedding. Israel, in the yeshivish world, it's not done so much to have everyone match the ties, but I did it anyway. These were the ties. I wore a white tie. Then I realized afterwards that it's symbolic. White tie doesn't mean you're supposed to actually wear a white tie. It just means that the guy who's getting married, he's supposed to dress in white tie attire. Right? White tie attire is, a tuxedo would be black tie. White tie would be like, a frock coat or something like that. That's what I should have been wearing, a tails or something like that. Not an actual white tie. I should have worn this tie, the blue tie, like everybody else, but just worn a frock or a tails suit. Anyway, that's a little history. And that's the night that I gave my ksuba to my wife. Can you believe it? The connection between the tie and Maseches Kesubos, only on Just Outfit. All right, let's get started. The bottom, Dalit Amud Beis. Last two lines. Aramar benkach lo evil lo be'erev Shabbos v'lo b'motzei Shabbos. You shouldn't do the bias mitzvah, the first mitzvah, first bia, for a psula, obviously, not on erev Shabbos and not on motzei Shabbos. Especially on the erev Shabbos, b'shum chabura. We'll talk more about this in the coming dapim. It's a malacha potentially on Shabbos. You're going to draw blood by penetrating the hymen. You're going to draw blood. One of the malachas on Shabbos, the shlita. You can't shecht an animal. The Gemara says, Mishum Chabura, drawing blood is a malacha d'oraisa. You can't get a bris milah only because the Torah says, by Yom HaShmini, it includes, if the 8th day falls out on Shabbos, then there's, right, the mitzvah of milah, it's docha, the Isra of Shabbos. There's no Isra of Shabbos, there's no Isra of malacha when you're doing a bris milah, but there are halacha, like Sisin Shalom Akman, it's a milah. If you didn't do a complete job, you can't really finish it on Shabbos, as long as it's not ma'akev, the kashrus of the milah. So the Gemara says, Ela b'motzei Shabbos hamayla. Why can't you have the bia rishon on motzei Shabbos? For example, let's say, like our times, you can get married potentially on Friday. On Shabbos, you can't get married on Friday night because you're making a kinyan, but you can get married Friday during the day. You can get married on motzei Shabbos itself, Saturday night party, Saturday night fever. Amar Zera mishum, on top of him and Aleph, Mishum Cheshbonos. The reason you're not supposed to get married and have the bia on Erev Sha'an, on Motzei Shabbos on Saturday night, is because inevitably you're going to have to prepare for the wedding on Shabbos, and you're going to start making calculations, monetary calculations. How much does a platter cost? How much is it for a portion? Is it like 30, 40, 50 shekel in Eretz Yisrael, or like $100 in Marina Del Rey in America? So Amar Abaye, Cheshbonos shel mitzvah mi'asiri. Abaye says it's for a mitzvah, it's for a wedding. You can do it for a mitzvah mi'asiri. If it's for a mitzvah purpose, you're allowed to do it on Shabbos. For example, Amar Lezer poskin stuck on Yom B'Shabbos. You're allowed to make calculations how much money. You're allowed to pledge donations. You have in shuls, they get up on Shabbos, they auction off the aliyahs. They make pledges, Yom Kippur and things like that for tzedakah. You can do that, even though you're definitely talking about money. The reason how they talk about money directly on Shabbos, money that you're going to, pledge or you're going to pay, is because the daber davar, your diburim on Shabbos shouldn't be about chol. Money is a whole thing, is a non-kadosh thing. To talk about money, it desecrates the Shabbos, even in your dibur, which is also midrabbanan. So, but if it's for a mitzvah, then it's not shel chol, it's shel kodesh, shel mitzvah. Amar Lezer poskin tzakal inim Shabbos. Amar Yaakov, Amar Rabbi Yochanan, holkin the batei knisi, or sabat midrashos. The vakeach liskei rabim. The shuls, you got the base medrash. The vakeach liskei rabim, right? You have communal matters. You're a communal activist. You're like Heshi Tishler over there. You can go. Heshi Tishler has the ability to go to the different shuls and base medrash on Shabbos, and talk about the political agenda, how much money he's going to allocate, for postpartum depression and things like that. Heshi Tishler has a head there. If Heshi Tishler is listening to this shiur, he should know he has a heter to go to the shuls and talk about legitimately how much he's going to allocate if he becomes, the governor of New York, or he's elected as the 47th president of the United States. He could do it. He could go on Shabbos. He can come to the shuls. He can go to the Bubba 45, and he can ask them how much they're going to give. He could tell them, make his pitch. I'm going to give, $2 trillion to postpartum depression. Now listen, if you suffer from postpartum depression, it's obviously a serious thing. This is one of the things I heard him talking about. Or for the cops, to make more cops in Brooklyn. You can go to the shul, right? Right? This is a little questionable. Why is this heter to talk about how much money you're going to allocate for saving lives on Shabbos? The answer is because talk about Hatzalah or something like that, right? It's not Pikuach Nefesh now. You're just going to talk about your fundraising for Hatzalah, right? So I wouldn't call it Pikuach Nefesh. Someone's dying now, and you want to allocate money. You want to raise money, for a blood donation or a blood transfusion or organ donation. That's something else. But here, there's no immediate sakana tefashim. So you're just doing it, to build up Hatzalah. Another heter for Heshit Tischler, or Kalman Yeager, or Simcha Eichenstein, or who are the other people? Heiken. I think Heiken left the politics already. All these famous people from Brooklyn that you see all over Yeshiva World News and Matzav.com. Because these are the people watching my shiur, obviously. They know these people. So these people are allowed to go to Tractiot, amphitheaters. Karkal, they used to have the circus, Ringling, Barney, Balaam, whatever, so the circus. That they don't have the circus anymore. I think the circus is canceled. But you can go to stadiums. So you can go to, they're playing a game in Yankee Stadium or Citi Field. You can go on Shabbos, and go ahead and, right, talk about communal affairs with all the politicians that go to these games. There's going to be a Subway Series this year, the Mets and Yankees in the World Series. It's going to be amazing. Mets and Yankees in the World Series. I'm a Mets fan. Let's go Mets. I think they can do it as long as they have DeGrom and Scherzer. DeGrom and Scherzer are pitching. I think they can do it. That's DeGrom and Scherzer. That's 2 wins. That's already 4 wins in the series. You pitch them twice, you got your 4 wins. You just need a little run support. I think they have Alonso, McNeil come through in the clutch. Francisco Lindor, I'm not sure if he can do it in the clutch, but maybe he can. So you got those 3 guys. You got this trio. Sterling Marte is pretty good also. So they have a better lineup this year. So maybe they can do it. They can get the runner in from third with less than 2 outs. That's the key. So they could beat the Yankees, knock them off. You want to go the World Series Game 3 Friday night in Citi Field. You can talk to all the politicians there. I'm sure the governor will be there. I'm sure Kathy Hochul, whatever her name is, will be there. You could do that. You can make shidduchim on Shabbos and obviously talk about the money that you pledged to give so that your couple could learn in Kolo for 1,000 years. This is a big one. Even to pay tuition, you could thought you're paying tuition for your kid to go to college so he can learn in Umnus, right, or trade school. He can learn something what to do. You can do these things. These are all considered a mitzvah. Even to get a job is a mitzvah. Believe it. The Gemara said to get a job is considered a mitzvah. Unbelievable. The reason you can't get married on Motzei Shabbos is because you're going to shecht an animal. You're going to have a lot of preparation. You're going to have a big wedding meal. So you want to serve pargit, benov, right? The son of a chicken, right? A rooster, hen, Generally, pullet steak is from the female chicken who's less than a year old. So benov, if you want to shecht, she says a benov, so I guess that would be cockerel, the son of the rooster. A young rooster less than 1 year old, I guess it's a delicacy. It is a delicacy. You can serve that at your wedding. So if you want to know recommendations what you should serve at your wedding, serve not pullet steaks, cockerel. It's the male version of pullet steak. You might do that, so you might get involved with that. You have to prepare 500 portions. You're going to shecht the animals on Shabbos. Problem. Let's see Yom Kippur falls on a Monday. Sunday night is Yom Kippur. You shouldn't be allowed to observe Yom Kippur on Monday. Rabbi knows it's a mitzvah to eat the day before Yom Kippur, so it'll be easier fast for you. So therefore, on Sunday you're supposed to eat. It's a mitzvah to eat. Like Gemara says in other places. So right? We shouldn't allow you to do it because you're gonna have to get ready for that big meal on Sunday. So you're gonna shecht the chicken on Shabbos. Should be a problem. Here he's just doing it for himself by Yom Kippur. How many chickens does he have to shecht? One. Right here, he's doing it for many people. Acherim, he's going to be tardy. He's going to end up making a mistake and doing it on Shabbos. Alternatively, here we're talking about getting married on Motzei Shabbos, right? What time do you have? You only have an hour after Shabbos before the wedding. You're going to have to shecht on Shabbos. But here, when Yom Kippur falls on a Monday, you have the whole Sunday, the whole Motzei Shabbos and the whole Sunday to shecht your chicken, so it won't be a problem. Come to a reason that you might shecht, so therefore you shouldn't get married on Friday night also, because inadvertently you might come to shecht on Friday night, the chicken, and that's a malacha, obviously, to do that. Gemara is another question. I've said in the original mission, it says if Psula gets married, a virgin gets married on Wednesday night. I said it's technically not what it means. It means Wednesday during the day, because Wednesday night already called Yom Chamishi in the Jewish calendar. So she gets married during Wednesday day. How could she get married during the day? And the Gemara has a possibility she's going to be in the Velas, Beravi, during the day. The Gemara says it's usher to have Tasha Shamit. You're not allowed to be together with your wife during the day. We're going to explore that more in Eno Ben Sio, and I have an answer for that. So, do we say that she could even be together with her husband during Wednesday during the day, or she has to wait for the night because Ikruri Daita, that was the main reason we said that they are masaking and should get married on Wednesday night, because the Beis Din convenes on Thursday. He'll wake up, he'll still be angry by Thursday morning. He'll come to Beis Din and he'll try to claim back Achtos. He'll try to get his money back or try to deduct money from the Kesuba. We'll talk more. Rashi has a different shot. Ikruri Daita, maybe she's Nivelas Tachtov, maybe she after the Erisin she committed adultery and she's usher to him. So. So the Gemara says, Tashma, Tani Bar Kapara, B'sul Nisus B'Ravin and Velas B'Chamishi, Shahol V'Nemer B'Barachal Adag. The reason she has to be together with him on Wednesday night is because she gets a bracha, like the fish. The fish, right, were created on the 5th day of creation. So therefore, and Dagim, we know it says on Rosh Hashanah, we say you eat a dag, Nifra V'Nirbek a dag. They have a lot of children and fish, a school of fish. So they have a lot of children, so therefore it's a bracha. Hashem gave a bracha to the dag and Puravu. It says by the dag and go and Puravu. So therefore, you try to do it with the mitzvah of Puravu on Wednesday night, which is Thursday, because to coincide with the bracha, get the bracha of the dag. Whereas Almana he says b'chamish and velas b'shishi, hov never bracha la'adam. And the Brisa continues, Almana, she's been together with a man. She's a widow. She's been married before. She gets married on Chamish, like Mishnah says, and she has B on Thursday night, which is already Shishi, because there Hashem said Pruvu for Adam, Bracha Adam. Somewhere says Time Mishum Bracha. The reason she is Nevelis on Wednesday night is because of Bracha for the Dagim of Pruvu. Mishum Ekrui Daitu. It doesn't say any reason Ekrui Daitu, which is a more fundamental reason. So obviously you see that the only reason is Bracha, and therefore she could get married. If she's not makbid on the Bracha, she doesn't want the extra Bracha. Right, bracha is an optional thing. It's a nice thing to get a bracha. If you don't want the bracha, you can have the bia on Wednesday during the day, because there's no chashash of ikurei daita. We're not worried he'll cool down. He'll still come to basin on Thursday. If it's such a great thing, bracha l'dagim, why doesn't almana also she get married on Thursday and be nevelas on Thursday itself? Why wait until Thursday night? The answer is bracha d'adam adifo lei. Right, pruvu is better by your type of people. By people have a bracha pruvu. Supposed to fish. V'inami mishum. Alternatively, this is important. And the Gemara says a different answer. Mishum shaktu. The reason that she is bia on Thursday night, not Thursday day, is because of shaktu. They were diligent. Chazal were cared a lot about, right, the almana, that she should have what she needs. The time almana says b'chamishi nevelas b'shishi. The Brisa says, why is she's supposed to have the bia on Thursday night? She went to Omer Tibal b'chamishi. They get married on Thursday during the day and have bia Thursday during the day. Men have the tendency, if they weren't together with that woman at night, so they'll just go to his job the next day. Right? They wanted to make sure that she'll have a little simcha. If they have bia on Thursday night, so presumably he's going to sleep late. He'll be with her on Friday. He won't go to work, and then have Shabbos. He can't work anyway, so he'll have 3 days of simcha with her. What's the technical difference between these two reasons? If he's a person who has no job, or it's Yom Tov falls on a Friday, so according to the reason of bracha, it makes sense still to be boel on Thursday night. But if it's because of shakdu, either way, in these cases, he's not going to go to work on Friday, so therefore we don't have to be worried. It's greater the work of tzaddikim. What they accomplish is greater than what Hashem accomplishes. For Hashem creating the world. Hashem says about himself, my one hand created the land, and my right hand made the heavens. Right? Machon is talking about the base of Migdash, right? That people built. Yadecha is plural. So you see people are better because when they create things, they use two hands, both the right hand and the left hand. It says Hashem made the Abasha, he made the dry land. It says Yadav is plural. My answer is Yado Ksiv. It doesn't have a Yud there, so we go with the Ksiv, what I was written in one hand. Ksiv Yitzru. Yitzru is plural. He created Amar of Nachman Yitzchak Yitzru Etzbaosa. No, it's talking about plural. His fingers of one hand, his right hand. I see the heavens, the work of your fingers, right? The moon and the stars that you made. The heavens tell the kavod of Hashem. Similarly refers to Hashem's hands. It's plural, both hands. The heavens tell. No, it's talking about Yadav. It's not talking about Hashem's hands. It's talking about Tzaddikim's hands. Who tells what tzaddikim actually accomplish? The rakia, whether it rains or not. Because technically they daven for a lot of rain, and then it will rain, presumably. That's what we assume davening changes things. We'll have to talk about that at a different time. Ma'nihu matar, right? If it rains, it shows the tzaddikim have daven properly. So it's talking about the tzaddikim, not about Hashem. This is talking about a pasuk in Dvarim, that when you're in a machane, ayam machanecha kodesh, if someone goes to the bathroom in an outhouse, or you're supposed to cover it. You're supposed to take a shovel and cover it. So therefore, you can say divrei kedusha. You can say divrei Torah. Al tikri azinecha ala auznecha. Simple meaning of the pasuk is talking about azinecha. Azinecha is near your weapons. You should have a shovel also to cover the feces. Ela ozinecha sheim nishma adam davar sheino hagud. Ozinecha also means your ears. If you hear something which is not proper, top of Hayam and Beis, Yaniach Etzbo, the Ozna. You should put your finger, Yesed is like a peg, you should put your finger in your ears. So you shouldn't hear it. Eliezer asked, why are people's hands, they're like almost like pegs, you could stick them into something. Why is it like that? My time must look more ass. Right? They're not webbed, right? You don't have fingers like this, like, basically stuck together. There's a different reason for that. You need each finger to be separate for a different reason. Right? We said in other places that each finger is unique in halacha. Zeres, the pinky, is used to measure the choshen, right? Zeres el zeres. The width and length of the choshen HaMishpah was a zeres, zu kmitza. The kmitza, this finger is very important because the kmitza, when you take the mincha with these three fingers, this is the lead finger over here. So you need that for kmitza, to measure the kmitza. Zu amma. Amma is the middle finger. I'm not going to put up the middle finger because I'm going to get people getting angry at me. If I go like this, it's okay. Okay, not the other way. The amma is your middle finger. That you need to measure an amma. An amma, we hear amos, right? How big is an amma? An amma, right? Now, an amma is not this big. An amma is much bigger, but it's a machlokas with an amma is five middle fingers or 6 middle fingers. So we hold 6 middle fingers. Some opinions at the beginning of Sukkot hold 5 middle fingers. Zu etzba is significant. This is when you throw the blood on the mizbeach with this finger. Zu godel, the thumb is useful because when the metzora is, you put the blood on the metzora when he becomes tahor, it goes on his thumb and his big toe. Ella matam is shupos kisel. What's the reason that they're slanted? They're wider on the bottom and they get narrower on top. What's the reason? They were created exactly like that. So if you hear something you don't like to hear, you put your fingers in your ears. Your ozen I mean, it's not so hard, but it's more hard. It's cartilage, but it's harder. But El Yeracha, but the bottom part is completely soft. It, why? What's the reason? Shemish Ma'adam Davar Shein Hagan Yaakov El Yelatocha. You fold it in here, so you don't have to hear anything. This Gemara is our proof for Mishnah Berurah says that if you hear something Eno Hagun, he says it means Lashon Hara, or even things which are not proper, you should go like this or like this, and make sure you don't hear it. I'm not going to get into Hilchos Lashon Hara over here, but this is one of the sources for Hilchos Lashon Hara, that if you hear Lashon Hara, you should try to either leave or try to avoid it and put your ears in your. If you're too embarrassed, then just sit there like a stone or something like that. Not only that, and the Gemara says you shouldn't even hear Dvarim B'Teilim. Any things that are not Torah, because they get burnt. They're the easiest to get burnt. Meaning, if you hear negative things, it's going to affect you the most, more than just seeing things or feeling things. All your senses, the hearing, is going to burn you the quickest. It's hard for me to understand this Gemara, obviously, because I really believe you should be talking about other things all the time. You should be talking about Torah all the time. So, what does it mean, Dvarim B'Teilim? I'm not really sure. I'm not going to get into that right now. It's a different discussion. Let's go on. Get back to our main question, right? Having been on Friday night. The Gemara says, the Bryce said before, you're not supposed to do it. So the Gemara says, that's one opinion of the Tana, but we'll see this Machlokas Tanoim. We actually opine that it's technically mutter to have Bia Rishon on Shabbos. Is the blood considered stored, right? When you pierce the hymen, so blood comes out usually. So how is that blood? Normally when you make a cut on your skin or something like that, the blood is chaburi michbar. It's on the surface, right? It's about to come out. So when you take it, but the hymen, maybe the blood is stored on the sides of vagina, it's stored on the sides. So therefore, it doesn't come out right away. If there's a delay, it doesn't come out right away. So it's called mifkat pocket. It's not considered making chabura. It's something which happens afterwards with a delay. So therefore, it's not considered chabura. It's not a malacha. Oh, chaburi michbar. Or do you say no? The blood generally comes out right away. If you'll tell me that it's just collected there and it's not a chabura, the dam who sarach v'shari. When his intention, he's doing it just to get the blood out. Why do you want to get the blood out? To show, right? Well, he has to get the blood out in order to, so he can. Once the hymen is ruptured and there's blood, then she's usher to the husband. You have to go to the mikveh again. So he wants to get rid of it, get through with this. He wants a dam. Maybe he's just really doing. He wants to make a hole there, so the next time he's bowler, it's easier to get in. But in this Shalomar, right, to make a Pesach on Shabbos is a different malacha, right? It's called maybe Masak and Mana, or to make a Pesach, to make something that wasn't there before. It was closed before, and you're making an opening. That's called Bona, or it's called Masak and Mana. It's called Maka Patish. So maybe that's usher. Maybe he's telling he's just doing it for the blood. And the Pesach had myself is halacha like Rabbi Shimon. Is a halacha like Rabbi Shimon that when you do something you don't intend to do it. Here he's not intending to do the Pesach, but in Mela the Pesach happens, the opening happens. So, but it doesn't always happen. Rabbi Shimon says if right? If you didn't intend to do it and it doesn't always happen, which is not a psik reisha, it's not a psik reisha, so then it's mutter. Maybe the halacha follows Rabbi Yehuda. The Darash Miskaven, he also asks me not Torah. If there's a lower halacha Rabbi Yehuda, even though it's the halacha of Rabbi Yehuda, maybe it's Daraisa. Makaklo is al Pesach, Matakan is al Pesach. Maybe it's not called a Tikkun, right? We're talking Tikkun Mona, Makav Patish. He's fixing something. Maybe it's Makakal. Maybe a psula is considered more wholesome when she has the hymen as opposed to not having the hymen. So therefore, it's called Makakal, called destroying, and it's not considered making a Pesach. Even though Makaka is normally awesome in the Rabban, and here, because of the necessity of Bias Mitzvah on the night of the wedding, maybe the Rabban will matter it. Halakha Rehuda, Makaka is a Pesach, Masaka is a Pesach. Either Amri. Alternative, another way of phrasing this question, if it's a mutter to get married on Shabbos, even if it's a Lomar Dam Chaburi Mikbar, maybe the Dam actually comes out right away. It's Chabura. Dam Usarach V'Aser. Maybe he's doing it for the blood. So there's Chabura, he's doing it for the blood itself. That's Isra Daraisa. Maybe he's just doing the bia, the hymen. He wants to enjoy being together with his wife, so he's not doing it to Darash and Miskavin. This is a lomar lanaza atzam usarach v'ndam melakas. Yalacha Rabbi Yehuda, Olacha Rabbi Shimon. Lacha follows Rabbi Yehuda. Darash and Miskavin is also, or maybe the follows Lacha Rabbi Shimon. Darash and Miskavin is mutter, and therefore even though the blood comes, it makes a chabura to davar shemiskav. Even if you want to tell halachas Rabbi Yehuda, davar shemiskav is asr makalka b'chabura masakim chaburu. Is it a kilkel or is it a tikkun doing this chabura? If you lomar, right, is it a positive thing or a negative thing? Something you make chabura. If it's a negative thing, it's makalka. The Gemara says in Shabbos nav kuvav. It's not a malacha. If you lomar makalka b'chabura, makalka halacha Rabbi Yehuda. By makalka is halacha Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Yehuda actually is makel. By makalka, he says you're not even normally with malacha d'oraisa. If you destroy it, if you do an act of destruction, it's only the rabbanan. Here it will be mutter. Oh halacha Rabbi Shimon, halacha Rabbi Shimon, who doesn't have this sort of makalka. Those are the two ways of saying the suffix. I mean, there are a lot of ways of saying the suffix. Two main ways of phrasing the suffix, and all the other questions that lie there within. On Davav, we are going to analyze this more, bring different shitas, who permits it, who asks it, and finally the maskana, whether it's mutter or asra, will be found on Davav. Stay tuned for that coming up next.